Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
As my co-host Kristen Fogel knows, whenever we see the Museum Council light up on the schedule, it is a good day. And, you know, what we really should be doing, Kristen, is not making these 27-minute interviews. I mean, easily should be doubling this.
You want to do 2-hour ones like Charles and I do when you're gone?
Yeah, and then you put people to sleep after 5 minutes, but that's okay.
That's fair. It's fair.
We'll hit these wonderful folks. First of all, I would be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to Bob Lehman, who was sitting in the studio over here. He's going, Drew, I'm not coming in the studio anymore if you mention my name. He's now the chief cook and bottle washer for San Diego Art Matters, and he used to be the Museum Council head, and just we're so grateful. He's always brought in great folks, and he's doing this again. So honored to have Tom Felkner in. Tom is the interim executive director for the San Diego Museum Council. Did I get that right, Tom?
That's exactly right. Okay. Thanks for having us here, Drew.
Honored. We cannot talk enough about our unbelievable museums. And then this gentleman, Brian Beef Drechsler, the executive director for the Navy SEAL Museum. I've got to meet Brian many times before. Does great stuff. I was at a panel with him at BCCA not too long ago. How you doing, Beef?
I'm great, Drew. Good morning. Honored to be here. Thanks so much.
Always good to see you again. Thank you for your service, to say the least, on here. And Alethea Arguilez, she is the First Five San Diego executive director. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good morning.
Well, just, whenever we talk about our museums, which is certainly, in my opinion, the lifeblood of what goes on in this region, we want to thank you for the tireless work that you folks do, the joy you bring, the brightness you bring, the life you bring, the excitement is just huge. And I know this is near and dear to Kristen's heart. And why is that, Kristen?
Why is that? I mean, well...
What did your husband do?
He works at the Fleet Science Center.
I had to tee that one up. Are you kidding me?
You did. I know.
Oh, my goodness.
But also I was like, because it's Museum Month and I'm just excited about Museum Month. So I was like, is it the husband? Is it Museum Month? So
it's the husband. Oh, my God.
So sorry.
I'm going to have a conversation with him over that.
That's fine.
Tom, why don't you talk a little bit about Museum Month, and certainly we're going to talk more with Beef and Alethea on their specific
Well, this is
museums.
Our 37th annual Museum Month.
Wow.
So this has been going on for almost 4 decades. And this year is the biggest one we've ever had. We have over 70 museums participating, from north to the Surf Museum and Oceanside down to the Tijuana Estuary, and way East County to Campo, where you can take a train ride at the Santa Fe Railroad Museum. So it's the premise is you get half off admission to all these museums, and it's a great way for families to get out in an affordable manner and experience a lot of different types of museums throughout the month of February.
And I think what happens, Tom, that people go, are they all located in Balboa Park? And of course, the answer is no. We have museums all over the county.
Exactly.
Talk about that.
Well, there's about 17 museums in Balboa Park.
Correct.
So that means there's 55 museums outside of Balboa Park, and we have everything from the floating museum of the USS Midway to the all the art museums, Museum of Contemporary Art in La Jolla, to the Museum of Making Music in Carlsbad, to the Miniature Engineering Museum. So there's all kinds of museums throughout the county. A good example is the Navy SEAL Museum located downtown that Beef can talk a little bit about today.
Right, exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned our good friend Terry Kraft is a frequent guest on our show. Mm-hmm. He loves it because he lives in the Scripps Ranch, so he can now sleep in a little bit in to come into the studio. And we do quite a bit of work, as Kristen knows, with USS Midway Museum. Classroom of the Future Foundation is heavily involved in that. Before we turn it over to Beef and Alethea, Tom, what do people expect Museum Month? Do they get in free admission? Do they get half price? Is it every single day? Talk about that.
Right. So it's really easy to participate. We try to make it easy. You can pick up a printed pass from over 85 public city and county libraries throughout the whole county. So it's in every neighborhood. Just go pick up a printed pass. Or if you'd like, you can download a pass off of our website at sandiegomuseumcouncil.org. And they're all free. And you just take that pass to one of these 70 museums throughout the county. You could go 10 times a day. You could go every day.
Ooh.
In fact, we're looking to have a contest to see how many museums people can go to in 1 month.
Drew, I think that's you and I. That's got us written all over it.
Yeah, where's your husband work again?
He works in the
yeah, right. And I think that's terrific. And then once you also have a contest, how many times people go to a certain museum? Would that be part of it also?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to have proof, though. You have to have a picture of yourself at the museum. So
anybody would be just honored to have a picture with Beef on this, and we goes to the Navy SEAL Museum. Beef, good seeing you again. Everyone's been really anticipating this wonderful museum. When did you folks open?
We opened up our showcase October 4th.
Right, exactly. How has been the response?
It's been great. We're getting fantastic feedback. It's a wide demographic that we're trying to appeal to, right? You've got the active duty force, the veterans, retirees, but also 32 million people a year come here, right? So I want the folks vacationing from Ohio, Des Moines, and we're getting, they love what we're doing because we're telling the 80 years of rich history, but through the traits in the lens of teamwork, discipline, commitment, leadership, service. So it's resonating with any chosen endeavor, right? So kids that come and, Mom, why am I going to a SEAL museum? I want to be a water polo player. Well, be a good teammate, put yourself last, work hard, have some integrity. So the response has been fantastic.
Yeah, and as you say, it's more than a building; it's a mission. How long were you a Navy SEAL?
So a little over 25 years. I retired June 2024 as a captain, just under 27 years in the Navy, over 25 as a SEAL.
And thank you for your service. One of our good friends and colleagues is Ed Heiner. Ed has been on the show a bunch of times, certainly ran Buds, as you well know, and all that. When's the last time you saw Ed?
It's been a hot minute. I don't know if he is willing to admit it, but
he'll admit it.
Yeah, when Ensign Drechsler checked into SEAL Team 5, Lieutenant Heiner was there. So
yeah, we just did a special broadcast with him, and I want to really get to some point that Beef was mentioning. The absolute character of the SEALs are amazing, and so here's Ed Heiner, a decorated SEAL. He's written 2 best-selling books, as Beef knows. He comes up, and we did a special remote, Kristen. I'm not sure if you knew about this, called an inclusive basketball camp. Up in Vista, we had NBA stars up there. We had Olden Polynice, we had Judd Buechler and all that working with these kids. And there's Ed, giving up a Saturday, and he just, no surprise to you, Beef, and just did a great job. It was phenomenal. Yeah. Are most of the folks that come through the museum, are they retired SEALs? Are they current SEALs? Or it's a whole mix of folks?
It's a whole mix. Again, with us telling our story through those traits, and we try to do a really blended approach to telling the story. So there's written word, there's narrated media, linear media. Naval Special Warfare let us film Hell Week.
Oh, my goodness.
Which in my last 5 years is chief of staff of our headquarters, and I was the major commander running the training for Naval Special Warfare. We didn't let outsiders in, so you get an inside look at that.
Wow.
We've got artifacts, so it really is a mix of folks that come through. And we had a 4th grade class come in for a field trip yesterday. Parents brought them by. We gave them a tour.
Nice.
They got to sit in the VR chair, a bunch of 4th graders seeing what it's like to jump out of an airplane with wind blowing in your face. But then we sat down, talked teamwork and leadership. So it's great. It's a wide gamut, but again, it's kind of reflective of this community in this great city.
Yeah, there's no question. Before Kristen asked a question about Alethea, I will want to say this, that my daughter's fiance works for the SEALs and does logistics. So he's down in Imperial Beach the whole time.
Very nice.
I know. Yeah. How about that? Kristen?
Yeah. Well, before I turn it over, where are you guys located?
So we are on Kettner Boulevard. We're about 3 blocks in from the Midway, right across from the Santa Fe train station. So it's
Perfect.
a great way to spend a day. We're calling it the Maritime Triad. So family wants to learn about maritime commerce, the rich history of this city towards with the maritime environment. You go to the Maritime Museum. If you want to learn teamwork and leadership through the birthplace of naval aviation, you go to the Midway, and we'll show it through a commando lens. So we're all co-located. Great way to spend a day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we just had Christina on talking about the Midway Museum, and we actually collared her to present at our annual CFF College and Career Pathway Summit.
Oh, nice.
With all the blue stuff she's doing.
Excellent. All right. I want to turn it over to Alethea. Can you talk a little bit about First Five?
Sure, I'd love to. So First Five is really the leading organization that's supporting our families here in San Diego County that have children 0 to 5. So newborns, pregnant women, and families is really our charge. And our goal is to make sure that families know how important it is the first 5 years, right? Their development that's happening so rapidly. And we exist to connect families to resources when they have a need.
Well, there's no question about that. Remember when First Five started, and obviously the very first teacher of anybody, on all of us, and the last teacher or the ongoing teacher are the parents.
That is right.
Of course, in that aspect of it. And of course, with the advent of so much going on with TK now and starting early childhood education, that's just absolutely spot on. How closely, Alethea, do you work with the schools?
Well, our providers, who are contracted providers that do all of the amazing work on our behalf, we're a funder. And so we're really proud of our providers that have been with us for many years that really do a tremendous job of connecting with our local education agencies, which are the school districts, and making sure that when we're looking at quality preschool efforts and making sure that our babies are growing up just proper and ready to learn, because that's really one of the biggest charges that we've had. And that when they're entering that TK classroom, as you said, we want, and they're little, they're only 4, making sure that families know how to navigate that system because it's complicated, and knowing who to count on when the concern pops up. And we've always been very proud that our programming has been there to be that provider that the families can count on when a need arises. And so our providers work very closely with our local school districts. And, this is thousands strong when we think about providers, childcare providers, early education providers. It's more than 4,000 here in San Diego County. And they're small business, and they're also nonprofits, and it's a very complicated system. But we aim as a funder in First Five to connect families to that system.
Well, what is so critical about all the museums here, that are in our region, of course, the ones that are certainly in Balboa Park and the 50 plus, as you mentioned, Tom, that are outside of it, is that these museums, and I've been honored to work with many of them. I'm on the board. I forget what my title is these days, of the San Diego History Center, which is just an unbelievable place. Bill Lawrence and all that is the fact that, and we're going to go around the horn and get the feedback from Beef and Alethea on that too. But Tom, those museums, all they know is one thing: is everybody belongs. Everybody belongs in a museum. We don't care what you look like, where you came from, what your background is, what you're doing. Talk about how important it is. And you guys welcome everybody.
Exactly. And I'd like to first start with Alethea and the children. With the support of First Five, we're able to do these programs like Museum Month and like Kids Free in October. And it's with that support that we can welcome all kinds of people, all families from throughout the county. We specifically tried to target families in the promise zones and the Healthy Places Index areas. Last Museum Month, we had about 50,000 people from the Promise Zone here in San Diego who were able to participate with the support of people or organizations like First Five. So museums are for everybody, and especially that we want to get everybody in at the youngest age possible, so it becomes a lifelong obsession to come out to museums and really appreciate and learn.
And I think that's so spot on. When we come back from break, I want to hit that with Alethea in First Five, and certainly get Beef's thinking on it. Kristen knows she's been a co-host for 3 years now, and we're forever grateful for that. Never ceases to amaze me about this, and I think we brought it up quite a bit with Bob Lehman when Bob was in this role. How many kids in San Diego County who have never been to the beach? How many have never been to the mountains? How many have never been to a Padre game? And I can't remember, Kristen, if you were co-hosting or not with me. We had the Stephen Birch Aquarium on, and they were just hosting folks who had never touched the Pacific Ocean, and they live in San Diego County. We come back, I want to talk more about that aspect of it and the access when we return with our friends from the San Diego Museum Council and their affiliates. Tom Felkner is the interim executive director, joined by Beef Drechsler, executive director of the Navy SEAL Museum, and Alethea Arguilez. She is the First Five of San Diego executive director. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of the Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 20th year. We're pretty proud of that. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's art, whether it's financial literacy, you name it, they're involved. And we will be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Honored to be with my co-host, 3rd year doing this now, Kristen Fogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc., and joined by just some of the stellar folks involved in our just absolutely over-the-top museums. Tom Felkner, interim executive director of the San Diego Museum Council, talking about the iconic museum month. Brian Beef Drechsler, executive director of Navy SEAL Museum San Diego, and Alethea Arguilez, she is a First Five San Diego executive director. I'll start with you on this, Alethea, and then pivot over to Beef on this. Just talk about those opportunities, Alethea, about the kids that maybe this is the first time they've been in a museum or first time they've done X.
Well, and I love presencing that, because we talk about access and lack of access. And I reflect, when I was little, I got to the museum because my school field trip took me to the museum. And, my parents, for whatever reason, whether they were working hard and didn't have access, my story, I remember that first introduction. And I thought about later in life, like, it's a privilege. What a privilege, right? And to know that we have over 250,000 little ones in our county that may not have that opportunity. So to partner with the Museum Council and make sure that families know what's out there and start to plant the seed of why it's important to take your little ones to learn and grow in those spaces is really about life success, right? And so for First Five to have the opportunity to work with partners like the Museum Council to promote what is happening out in the community, how to get your little ones to have those hands-on experiences, because we know that children grow and learn through those direct experiences, real life, engagement. So to help families understand what's out there, I'm excited. I need to go to the Navy SEAL Museum.
Yeah.
I've never been, and I'm older, and so I'm learning every day, right? And so to be able to connect our families throughout the county and those that may not know or have no idea how to get there, to be a partner and to even have like fun passes like what's out there, and to be able to fund raffles and really make it fun too is really amazing.
Well, and Tom and you, Alethea, and certainly Beef knows this. Kristen and I talk about it all the time. If Drew ran the world, which would be a very dangerous place, but if Drew ran the world, but if he did, you can learn every subject, TK through college, just by going to the museums. Every single subject, from physics to arts to communication to history to you name it. With that, and Beef in the world you were in, as a SEAL and what is in there. I mean, talk about the different content that is covered in that museum.
Yeah, so like I said, it's a blended format, but we're trying to tell it through traits. Right. And we realize we're not the sole proprietors of teamwork leadership. So like any other organization that we represent, we want to tell the uniqueness of that. And that's the arduous training that continues throughout one's career, creates adaptability, that gives you agility, innovation, and a grit that yields mission success. And we try to do that with and we've got tapping into our veterans community. We've got over 60 docents, most of whom are former SEALs, so they can have that interaction with children, with guests. And yeah, they walk away because we're looking at our museum as more than just a building. It's a platform. We want to inspire and have an impact. And back to your question to Tom, for us, it's not a recruiting center. The last wall a guest sees is called a call to action wall, and it's about service. Certainly could be in defense and serving your country, but it's also serving your community, serving your neighbor, a volunteer at a soup kitchen, be a teacher, volunteer at First Five, right? So it's being part of something bigger than yourself.
So if I don't bring this up, Ed Heiner will absolutely string me up from the rafters, and so will Beef as well. Kristen, you folks that are certainly, all of us in that aspect of it, you specifically, it's all about leadership. And you offer leadership programs to youth, do you not?
We do. Touched on that a little bit with that field trip that we had yesterday.
Yeah.
We've partnered with the San Diego Sheriff. They have a program called Respect, working with juveniles at Promise Youth, talking to them about, again, not necessarily SEAL tactics, but teamwork, overcoming adversity. We've spoken several times with other organizations like the San Diego Police Department and their youth division. The San Diego Police Department, they have a command cohort for their police officer leadership kind of forum. We'll be speaking at that. So we're all in. Anything that we can do to help others, call to service, call to action, we're all in.
Yeah, Kristen, that leadership is just so critical, isn't that?
Absolutely, definitely.
So, talk about this, Tom. How do we get folks to understand that Museum Month is great, okay, but that's a month, okay. There's 11 more months after that. Get a flavor of these museums, these beautiful museums, but come and visit more often.
Exactly. We want people to come out and really appreciate we have over 70 museums throughout the county. It's a great opportunity to get out, see some new favorites. What I would do is I would take my pass. I would go to Balboa Park and I would go museum to museum. For instance, you could go to the Comic-Con Museum, then go over to the San Diego Air and Space Museum, and then right next door to that is the San Diego Automotive Museum, and you can see the NASCAR new display that they have there. So I would say this is a great opportunity, spark some interest, get out and see some new things.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Kristen, when's the last time you've been to a museum other than the Fleet?
We go to museums constantly. And I mean, as we're talking about youth and things like that, I think one of the beautiful parts about being in San Diego and raising a family in San Diego is that culture of museums. We were constantly taking Declan to museums. And like we've talked about, it's not just Balboa Park. If you come to Liberty Station, where San Diego Writers Inc. is located, you've got the New Americans Museum there. You have Visions Art Museum. They're all over the county. So people should really, really take advantage right now and, every month of the year, like you said.
Yeah, there's no question about it. So I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to ask you a question also on this, Kristen.
Okay.
And now I got to think about how I'm going to answer this. Tom, do you remember the first time you visited a museum as a kid?
Ooh.
And do you remember what museum that was?
I definitely do. I was in 6th grade in outside of Chicago, and we took the school bus up to the Science and Industry Museum in Chicago. Never forget it. So it made a big impression, and I think it's the same with a lot of kids. That early exposure to museums is so important.
Very good. Beef, how about you? Do you remember a museum that you went to as a kid the first time?
I guess it would qualify as a museum, but I grew up in Pittsburgh, and I think it was 5 or 6, and we hopped in my dad's car and we drove to Canton, and he took me to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I'd say that's a pretty good one over there. Mike, what do you remember most about it?
They had, I was a huge Jack Lambert fan.
Of course.
And they had Jack Lambert's
Number 58, is that right?
That is correct.
Thank you. Former sports writer. I got more inconsequential information in my head, as Kristen knows, than anybody in the world.
That's very true.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So Canton, that's good. All right. How about you, Alethea?
Well, proud San Diegan, born and raised. I remember being in elementary school. I don't remember the grade. May have been 5th or 6th. Balboa Park. We went to Balboa Park with our class, and I remember the Museum of Man and just really being in awe of everything that was there, right? And wanting to see more, right? And so definitely has stayed with me my whole life.
Kristen?
Yeah. I remember I grew up in Los Angeles County, and the first museum we went to was the Museum of Tolerance, the Holocaust Remembrance Museum. And it was impactful, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember mine because I'm 105 years older than everybody in this room over here, which is quite obvious. I think the first one, I think there was a Helms Bakery museum in L.A., and I think we used to do that as school tours. And that was always a great day because they were out of the classroom, right, in that aspect of it. But the point being here, all of our listeners are probably going to go, you know what? That's a good question. Let me ask about this. We just happen to be so fortunate in this unbelievable county of ours to have these 70-plus museums. Whether they're walking distance right now, as Beef said, just go down to the waterfront and you've got the Maritime Museum, Navy SEAL Museum, and the Midway Museum. You go to Balboa Park and you can't help but stumble on these, and they're all over the place, as well on this. I'll go around the room over here because I think it's really important to mention that your doors are open so much in that aspect. I'll start with you on this, Tom. We sort of brought this up. Go often, bring new people. Just the advantage of we have in San Diego. Take advantage of going to these museums.
Yeah, I think San Diego has an amazing concentration of museums of all different types, and there's something for everyone, no matter what you're looking toward. You mentioned Liberty Station. We also have the San Diego Watercolor Society.
That's right.
We have the Nautical History Museum and Gallery over there, in addition to Visions and the New Americans. So no matter where you look, you're going to run into a museum. Down in the Gas Lamp, there's the Gas Lamp Museum. There's the Chinese Historical Museum. There's then over to Beef's Navy SEAL Museum and the Maritime and the Midway. So what I would challenge people to do is go out, especially use this museum month to kind of take that first step and start visiting museums and they would love to see you come through their doors.
I think one of these days what we'll do is we'll go ahead and during Museum Month is maybe set up some remotes, as we do quite a bit. We were just at MCRD Museum on the 6th, and we were chatting with General Hyman and then his folks. And of course, the most popular person in the room was, in all respect to my friend General Hyman, was the Bulldog. Thank you very much, and so forth. Beef, what do we do? How do we support you folks? The website of the Navy SEAL Museum, and people need to come and visit. They need to donate. They need to volunteer, and just be present.
Yeah, all the above. Go to NavySealMuseumSD.org. There's more information on that, but volunteer. We are a 501c3, so everything is a donation on everything we do, our public benefit programs, operating expenses. But we'll take your time. If you're so willing to donate your treasure as well.
Absolutely.
I've yet to say no to any volunteer as well. So we've got folks that not only have not been Navy SEALs or Special Warfare Combat Crewmen, we've got people that have never set foot on a Navy base. That's okay. I can educate you on that.
And I'm glad you brought the word volunteer, as Tom knows, and of course Beef, and certainly Alethea. Anybody that's affiliated with anything with museums, the volunteers are the lifeblood of this. Alethea, talk about how important that is.
Well, for us at First 5 San Diego, it's really about connecting families to the beautiful work that's happening out there in our community. And museums, as we've learned, is such an opportunity to explore and learn more about, what is available. And so for us, it's getting our families connected with our organization so that they know who they can count on. And we do have a website, first5sandiego.org, where families if we have our landing page, we'll then take them to whatever it is that they need related to developmental concerns or needs for their family. And also social media. So they can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, still going hard, and want to make sure our families are following us. We do daily activities and creative things to keep the little ones busy, because being a parent of little ones is not easy. So we hope that we can engage as many of our families that are raising their little ones in our county to a First 5 San Diego program.
Again, the website is?
first5sandiego.org.
Kristen, I'm thinking of Kimberly King, who was just in here recently. Kristen, any final comments?
No, just thank you, all of you, for all the good work you do. Our museums, First 5. You're all doing wonderful work.
It is invaluable, and we can't support it enough. We can't communicate it enough. I know, Tom, this won't be the last time that we bring in, the likes of Beef and Alethea. We literally can do podcasts every single day and not even come close to that. So wishing all of you nothing but unbelievable success with the Museum Month and the other 11 months of the year as well. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year. Just so honored to be sponsored by Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of just really supporting so many causes in our region. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.